Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome to the Networking RX podcast. I'm your host, Frank Agin, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. We all network for things for ourselves. I think to a degree we're self-interested, self-preservation. This has just been going on for eons. That's what drives humans forward. What makes us survive. What makes us successful is just that drive, and networking has always been a part of that. Two or more people working towards their mutual benefit, and the types of people we try to have in our lives are those people who can help us with that objective. And it might be purely personal that you're out there. There's people out there who, they work a job. They might work for the government, work for the state, work for the county, and they're not really trying to grow a business or trying to really advance themselves, but still they network. And it might be for information, it might be for tickets to the game, it might be for whatever. But there's just this constant networking. It might be information related to a great hunting spot. People who go deer hunting will, connect themselves with landowners who, a farmer who has a bunch of property, and obviously in the winter months, during deer season, much of the farming season is done, and so they've networked themselves the ability to go out there and set up a blind, hunt deer, just sit and wait. And of course, we normally think of networking, or at least I think of networking, many people I know think of networking as a means of advancing a professional endeavor. It might be networking oneself for sales. That's generally what is thought of in the world of AmSpirit Business Connections, trying to connect one another for the purpose of generating referrals that lead to sales, which drives the bottom line, pays for things. But there's also networking in a professional sense, somebody trying to advance themselves with respect to a career, and that might involve more information opportunities, finding good people to surround oneself with. You need to have a good team to make yourself look good to the higher ups, whether it's the investors or the boss, whatever it might be. And so there's certainly networking from that standpoint to try and gain an advantage, if you will. And again, it all harkens back to two or more people working towards their mutual benefit, and it's something that humans have really been doing since the beginning of recorded time. Now, obviously, the first step to being successful in networking and building relationships is building relationships, having relationships. And I have done podcasts in the past where I talk about the 3 reasons why people don't get referrals, and the first one is just lack of relationship. They don't have relationship. People don't know them, they don't like them, they don't trust them, and that's certainly a linchpin for a successful network, is having people around you that you care about and that care about you in return, and they trust you and you trust them. And that's certainly a foundational element of being successful in networking. It's just having that know, like, and trust in your network. But the second piece of that, and the relationship piece of it, really applies to whether it's personal, you're networking for personal reasons, or professional reasons. If you just, you're looking for a babysitter, somebody's going to refer you somebody because they know you, they like you, they trust you. If they don't like you, they're not going to help you. They may not come out and say they don't like you, but they're just not going to help you. And if they don't trust you, they're probably not going to say it, but they just won't come through for you. But assuming those things are there, the know, the like, and the trust, on a personal or professional sense, the second piece is getting people to understand how it is that they can help you. And I find that that's probably the biggest reason why people don't have successful networks, is people don't know how to help you. or help others. People haven't done a good job of articulating what they're looking for. And to be honest, I struggle with that. I think if you're well, I don't know that anybody has it easy. We all run into problems. We all, when I was an attorney, I understand being a lawyer. I understand it because I spent 3 years in law school. I spent years practicing. I know lots of other attorneys, conversations about those things, so I get it. Most of the population has not lived that world. Most of the population has not lived the realtor world. Most of the population has not lived the insurance world, and so on and so forth. Yes, if you're an insurance agent, most of the people that you probably interact with on a industry wide get insurance. But the rest of us have not been trained in that. At least in the state of Ohio, it requires coursework. 40-hour of courses. Maybe it's more now. Got to pass a test. You got to understand how a company works. Allstate insurance is different than nationwide insurance, which is different than American Family Insurance and other insurance companies that are out there, Progressive. And so you understand that if you're an insurance agent, but most people aren't selling insurance. No one is, there's really no profession out there or business that everybody understands. So when we, having the relationship is the first key to it. The second piece, which is important, is being able to communicate to people what it is that we're looking for, types of clients you're looking for. And I always tell people, listen, if you can't articulate in your own mind what you're looking for, you're really in trouble. You're really in trouble. And I think there are people out there who truly don't know. They truly don't know what they're looking for. I think I was at that point early on when I was starting out in the private practice of law. Yeah, I knew I wanted to be an attorney in private practice and make a go of that. I couldn't articulate in my mind what it was that I wanted to do because I didn't really know enough. And I just knew that I wanted to be successful, and to be successful in my mind was not necessarily doing the things I wanted to do, but just doing things that paid the bills. And so it could have been bankruptcy, it could have been divorce, it could have been a lot of things, could have been personal injury. I think I touched every one of those areas in the first year or so of my private practice. And then ultimately I realized that, you know what, I'm a business person, I'm a numbers guy. And helping people buy and sell businesses, helping people get into business, helping people get out of business, sell their business or turn it over or shut it down. Those are the things that really kind of excited me and the types of things I wanted to do. So getting it right in my own mind was the most important. But once you get it right in your own mind, then it becomes, you have to have the ability to communicate that to other people. If you can't get it right in your own mind, then you're really in trouble. But if you can't articulate or let other people let other people know what you're looking for, then they're going to have a hard time helping you. And so I think the key, the problem, one of the big problems is people using terminology. We'll call it jargon, industry jargon, using terminology with respect to their business and communicating with other people. One of the things I say is jargon sucks. I mean, it does. It sucks. And I don't mean it sucks in the sense of the dictionary definition meaning bad. Rather, jargon just quite literally sucks. It quite literally sucks business out of your hand. And the reason I say that is because, again, I'll go back to insurance or real estate, or I'll pick on attorneys. Attorneys, we have phrases, we have words that we use in our industry that we all understand. It's English for the most part. Some of it might be Latin, or might have its roots in other terms. A lot of legal terms have their roots in Latin words, but we all understand because we're in that industry. We all went to law school. We all studied for the bar. We all read the same journals and court cases, which continues to talk about that. And we operate in this fallacy that everybody understands that when we say summary judgment or res ipsa or something like that, that everyone else gets it. And I know I was guilty of it. I know I was totally guilty of it when I was practicing law. I just assumed everybody knew, I don't want to insult anybody. I just assumed they knew what I knew. And the things we were learning in law school, everybody kind of picked up on. You just, it's just, that's what you assume. And I think doctors, you go see your doctor, and your doctor starts firing out terms at you that, are very scientific in nature, and, just like, yeah, you should know. You know about the side effects of this drug, right? Don't you? Well, no, I don't. I'm completely ignorant. And that's what I mean by jargon sucks, is that people don't know. And so if they don't know, they go into this state of confusion. Their eyes glaze over when you start talking about things. And when they go into this state of confusion, uncertainty reigns. And I have, the saying out there, it's not my saying, but a confused mind says no. And so what I mean by saying no is, rather than looking dumb, we won't act. So if I'm talking with somebody as an attorney and I'm throwing out all this jargon, well, these are the types of people I'm looking for, and I'm using a lot of terminology and they're confused about it. Rather than them doing the wrong thing, they'll opt to do nothing. And so, jargon kills. It sucks. It sucks business, away from us. It prevents people from making referrals to us because they don't know. It prevents people from being our clients because they don't know whether or not they are a good client or if you can really help them. And I know, I remember back when I was practicing law and talking to people about what the types of things that I did, and we're prone to using jargon for a couple reasons. One, we just figure everybody talks that way. We don't realize that they don't live in our world. That the realtor who spends 8 hours a day at the real estate office having conversations with people using real estate terms, it's English, but real estate terms as sort of a shorthand, to say short sale, means something to people in the real estate office. But to the average person, that requires an entire explanation. And so we get stuck in our world where we're having these conversations using jargon and little phrases that everybody in the office understands. And we might even make jokes about it around the water cooler. Everybody understands, but the people that we rely on for referrals or to actually be our clients, or whatever measure you have for cold hard cash to bring business in the door, those people don't understand. And so jargon sucks. It sucks business away from us. And again, we're all kind of guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Certainly if you're in a professional endeavor where you've had to study for weeks, months, or even years to take on the profession, it's just riddled with jargon. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? I don't have a problem with the jargon itself. The jargon is important because if attorneys had to explain things to one another or talk in plain English about everything, they just wouldn't be as efficient. Things would come to a grinding halt as a fellow attorney would be explaining to me something that I already knew, but it's essentially, okay, you're going to spend the next 10 minutes explaining something I absolutely already know, as opposed to just using one or two words or a simple phrase that, shorthands that whole conversation. So jargon's important. It's important within our little worlds, but jargon sucks. It literally sucks business out of our hands if we use it at the wrong times. And so you need to be able to read the room, if you will. You need to be able to read the room and look around. Maybe it's not a room per se, but to understand the people you're talking with and ask yourself, okay, what level of understanding do they have? But you need to remember is that people are nice. People are generally very, very nice, and they're not going to tell you when they don't understand because they don't want to look dumb. So you're almost better off opting to err on the side of, I don't want to say being insulting, but dumbing it down until somebody says, okay, I understand that. I understand what a short sale is. Okay, fine. I won't go into the whole detail. You know what I mean when I say escrow, or whatever. I'm using real estate jargon at this point. Do you know what I mean by summary judgment? Do you know what I mean by, whatever it might be, whatever jargon's out there? And there's a lot of it. Take your profession and go on Google and do a search for jargon, real estate jargon. If you type in real estate jargon, I'm willing to bet that you come up with 5 or 6 different websites, not entire websites, but web pages that are devoted to 50 different jargon words, that every realtor needs to know. And that's true. You need to know it. You need to know what a short sale means if you're a realtor, but if you're the average person, understanding what short sale means is not high on your list of learning for the week. And so if you're dealing with people and they're not prone to that particular term, and I realize we're not really in a short sale market at this point, but that's just an example. You need to be able to kind of explain to people and take the time, because jargon literally sucks business out of your hands. If you're hell bent on using it. And again, people are nice, and so I was explaining earlier, I got off track, but we use it as sort of a short term. We figure everybody's got the same knowledge we do, but we also use it to look smart, fire out terminology. And I was guilty of it as an attorney, just talking terms like they must really think I'm smart. Yeah, they think you're smart, but they don't know how to refer you. They don't know what you're talking about. But again, it's not attorneys, just attorneys. It's not just realtors. It's not just insurance agents. I think everybody's guilty of it. Title insurance people, telecommunications, computer people. We all have jargon in our worlds, and if we're fixated on using that jargon with the average people who are going to be our clients, our referral partners, strategic partners, however you want to term it, if we're fixated on that jargon is going to suck. It's going to suck business out of your hands. And so you need to be cognizant of it as you move about your day and talk with people. Really stop and think through how you explain things to people. Dumb it down, use analogies, use metaphors, take the time to explain things to people. They'll appreciate it. And they'll do a better job of referring you business and doing a better job of assessing whether or not to be your client.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.